Indianapolis. How are you? So great to be here with all of you beautiful people tonight. At least I think you're beautiful. I can't really see much past like the fourth row, but the people up here are really beautiful. I'm going to assume the rest of you are all beautiful too. All right, so have you guys learned a lot about mindfulness tonight? A lot of stuff that you can take home and use, right? Awesome. Good, because I'm not an expert on mindfulness. I'm just going to start right off by telling you that. Okay? In fact, I even have trouble with the word mindfulness. I don't think that word means what it sounds like it means. Okay? So go with me here, all right? So mind, we all know what that is, right? Full means that something's at capacity, and ness is just a state of being. So mindfulness really sounds like it should be about a mind that is full, right? I mean, kind of like a stick figure guy up here. Right? Look at his thought bubble, full of all kinds of stuff. I know how that feels. My mind's like that. It's full of dates, informations, email, projects, jingles from the 1980s. Okay, I'll give you an example. Ready? My baloney has a first name. When are we ever going to use that information? Why is it still in there? Oh, yeah, so mindfulness really isn't about a mind that's full. It's actually more about like Fido up here in this image, right? A mind that has less in it, that's able to be in the moment. In fact, I really think it should be called mindlessness. Wait, there's a word for that already, isn't there? Yeah. And if this talk was about mindlessness, I would be an expert on that. So, I'm just here to tell you, I can go through life on autopilot an awful lot of the time. Anybody else with me on that? Yeah. Walking through, doing what I'm doing. I could be doing it here. I could be doing it in Timbuktu. I could be doing it on the moon. It doesn't really matter because I am not paying attention to things around me. I am distracted. And a lot of times, the things that are distracting me are things that plug in, charge up, need batteries, light up, or vibrate. I'm talking about technology. What do you think I was talking about? Anyway, so that's why I decided that I was going to do my talk tonight on mindfulness in the modern age. But since I'm not an expert, I decided to reach out to some friends of mine because I have some dear, close friends who know a lot about mindfulness. In fact, my friends talk to me a lot about ways to be more mindful. I don't know why that is, but anyway, I figured I could use their information to help you. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. So we're going to start off.
You got mail.
Oh, sorry guys. I really wouldn't normally check this, but like, I got this big project at work right now, and I just need to make sure this isn't work contacting me. Oh my gosh, it's my boss. I totally forgot to send her these documents before I left work, and she needs them right now. She's doing a presentation. But don't worry, I can talk and do this at the same time. Hold on. Okay, so let me find my documents, attach them. Okay, oh, it's send. Yeah. There. Good. Now I'm back. As I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, that's right. Alan CASTEL. He's the first friend I reached out to. So Alan is super smart. He's got those letters after his name, PhD. He's all like, I'm a cognitive psychologist. He's super, super intelligent. Anyway, he wrote this article for Psychology Today, and in the article, he quoted this statistic. The average American checks their phone on average 150 times a day. That's once every 6.5 minutes. Now, here's the part that gets to me. This is an average, which means there are people out there who are checking it more than that, right? I mean, that's really astounding. Just I need to make sure that got sent. Okay, good. I mean, you have no idea how much trouble I'd be in. All right, but 150 times a day? Man, that's a lot. But what's the problem with that? I mean, what's so wrong with checking our phones that much? Well, when you think about it, it really pulls us out of the moment. When you think about it, it interferes with social interactions, and it really interferes with our ability to focus. Every time we enter into the virtual world, we're no longer a part of the world around us. You can't be in both places at once. It simply doesn't work. So this becomes a problem because we are entering into this virtual world an awful lot of the time. So what's that doing to us? Well, I reached out to another friend of mine, BRITTNEY FITZGERALD. She wrote an article for the Huffington Post, and she actually looked at a study that came from Anxiety UK. I love their name, Anxiety UK. Who comes up with that name? Anyway, they're a not-for-profit across the pond in England, and they study technology and anxiety to see how people interact with their technology. They studied 288 participants, and they asked them a lot of questions. One of the questions they asked them was, has social media helped you in your life? And they said, yeah, it's been kind of made my life better, but not that much. Here's why. 45% of the respondents indicated that when they can't check social media or email, they become anxious and uncomfortable. 66% reported that when they check social media, they find themselves unable to sleep at night. I'm a little confused here because we've got 45% of the group saying they are anxious when they can't check social media and 66% saying they're anxious when they do check social media. It's a catch-22. We really are in a situation where our technology is something we can't live without, but it's making us extremely anxious as well. Well, that becomes a real problem. So I decided to reach out to another friend and ask them about this. Okay, that's kind of embarrassing. That's my text notification. I set it for applause because I do community theater, and sometimes that's the only way I can get applause. Sorry. Yeah, actually, this one's not that important. Let me just give them an emoji. Winky smiley face. That ought to hold them off for a little bit. All right, so anyway, my next friend that I reached out to was WIKI. Wikipedia. She's a really nice lady. You do have to fact check her every once in a while to make sure that she's correct, but I did fact check her, and we're cool, okay? So WIKI told me all about Hillary Cash, and Hillary Cash is the co-founder of Restart. Restart is one of the first rehabilitation centers for people who are suffering from technology addictions in the country. It's based in Seattle. Hillary indicates that this is becoming a real problem. She doesn't see her facility as being the last to open up. Our general population, 6 to 13% of our general population suffer from some sort of technology addiction, and these are just the people who have been diagnosed. For our youth, it's much higher. 13 to 19% are suffering from some sort of technology addiction. So her center actually helps to treat people so that they can get back to a normal way of life, so that this technology addiction is not inhibiting them from having a normal life. Here's what she shared that was interesting in regards to mindfulness. She uses many different types of practices, but the one that she feels is imperative and key to people recovering is mindfulness techniques. Mindfulness techniques practiced daily. She said that this actually can get people back to a normal way of life within 3 months. They have nothing else that comes close to it, and it absolutely works. This really isn't too surprising when you look at this study that recently came out of Harvard. Harvard scientists found out by looking at brain scans that mindfulness practices, when practiced daily, can actually increase the gray matter density in parts of our brain that control our emotional well-being, our focus, and our social interactions. So when you look at that, you can understand why mindfulness works for treating behavioral addictions. So that's really, really wonderful news, that mindfulness may not just help with technology addiction, it may help with other addictions as well. But the most interesting friend that I reached out to, I think, is NICHTERN. And Ethan is a Buddhist teacher, philosopher, and author. And he actually has given us kind of the golden nugget, if you will, the piece of information that I think you're going to want to take away with you tonight. He's talking about how we can take our mindfulness practices and interweave them with our use of technology. So we can enter into our technology usage with our mindfulness practices at heart. So he gave us 3 suggestions. The first one is when you get ready to go onto your social media or other devices, really set your intentions before you go. So tell yourself, I'm going to limit the number of sessions that I get on, or I'm going to limit the time, or I'm going to limit both. This helps you to stop and really make yourself stay focused on what you're doing when you're online. How many of you can go down the rabbit holes? Oh, you know they put those links there so that we'll do that. I mean, you get one thing and it's interesting, and oh, look over here, here's a link, and you click on it, and then you go down another rabbit hole, and next thing you know, there's another link, you're clicking on it. 4 hours later, you haven't picked the kids up from school, and something's burning on the stove. And you've accomplished nothing. So it's really set your intentions, stick to it. He also says that you can set your intentions as you go online and really think about ways to be more mindful as you're using, especially your social media. Reach out in ways that help people connect and help people learn about mindfulness, because it can be a wonderful tool as well as being something that can also be a little overwhelming at times. And then the last one, I know this is going to make some of you break out in hives, and I'm apologizing for that up front, but get yourself a little like Caladryl or something, because it'll go away. But do a periodic cleanse. And when he wrote this article, he was indicating that he was going to go on a weekend cleanse, completely cut off from technology for a weekend, which I cannot imagine. But he did say that you have to kind of eat the elephant in small bites. So you have to start off a little bit at a time and build up, because it's really hard for us in our society to step away from our technology. And it's almost expected that you aren't going to do that, right? You kind of are expected to be in touch all the time. So
You've got mail.
You know, I'm just going to mindfully choose to ignore that. I think I'll just check that when I get done. In conclusion, I would like to say that I hope you've gained something out of this talk, and I hope that you have learned something about how we can engage with our technology in a more mindful way, because it really is a wonderful tool, and we all have to use it in our personal lives and our work lives, and we can use it in a way where we control it rather than letting it control us. So I have to go. My time is up, but I just want to say you guys have been a lovely audience, and now I'm going to go and check my email, my text messages, put a little social media out there. But then I think I might just shut my phone off for the rest of the night. Thank you.